everyone, you're watching Jana FX. In this video I'm going to make technical analysis for the coming week. We'll have a look at main pairs, important levels, and my possible entry points. So where I will be looking to place the orders this week. We're starting with euro dollar as usual, and of course don't forget that we have still influence of coronavirus in the news, and also remember about economical news, so please check the calendar and make notes in a diary when it's going to be, because the markets are moving quite well with the news events. So, and well, this is the week we have for our chart for euro dollar, and we were here previous week, and okay, as you can see with euro dollar, just as I was expecting, a possible continuation of the moving down. I had a little sell order here. Remember, I'm looking for some kind of little channels, any patterns, and here it was our channel. So you can see that's the end of small trade. Of course, it didn't go too far, and I only come out with a very small profit on this trade. And the market jumped up. You see, this was another channel. Unfortunately, I didn't use it, but actually the market went up. And so what I would say right now is it really a bottom of euro dollar. And technically looking, look, we haven't touched the bottom of the channel, because on a bigger time frame you can see it is a downtrend, and I have pretty much squeezed the level right at the bottoms of the previous movements. You see here, and we have it here, even a little bit down, and they still haven't finished it, so it didn't touch it. That means it gives me a little bit of idea that that could have been just reaction on some news, and quite possibly euro can still finish the movement down. Of course, technically looking, it is a big drop and it's looking for some recovery as a correction. Okay, so yes, it quite possibly can have a bit of a correction, and I would think the breaking out point, this could be a strong resistance level, which used to be support before, and I would think if possibly it will not break it, then it might just continue the way down. So where's the entry point at this moment? So there was no entry point at this moment, okay, so except that little channel which we had on a smaller time frame and during the news event. But right now I wouldn't say it is an entry point. I would be waiting for a possible movement to this area. This is where I showed you in a bigger time frame where we had a bottom, so it was a support level, now is a resistance. So this is where we'll be looking at the possible entry points. If it will consolidate here, so it will give me a channel around this area, so it's plus minus. I made it a little bit, you know, I usually look for about 20 pips width. So for example, if it will have in here, then I will be looking at again placing the orders both directions, because look, we have another level on top of it is quite strong too, because we've been stopping here. We had two bottoms here, so it might just be stopped by this level, and so we have distance enough from here to there, and also it can continue the way up, or if it will have some correction. But there will be quite a bit of the news for American dollar, and if there will be good news, then I wouldn't see it going up. But anyway, as you know, I look at all possibilities. So yes, looking at a bit of a correction, but still if everything is going on, I would still see euro dollar possibly is not the turning point yet. So that's my kind of view in here. So this is where I will be looking for as the first possible entry point. Of course, with the opening of the market, it might jump up, and then it would be instead of under the level, then I would see where it will jump, and then you know that this can be changed. Like I'm saying, when I'm giving you the levels, what I look for is either consolidation underneath, could be consolidation on top, or in the middle. So that's how I look for the entry points, guys. So underneath, on the top, or in the middle. And of course it has to be enough space to go to the next level. You see, if at least 40 pips, like 30 pips, giving me 10 pips take profit, because you know that I usually place orders 20 pips above and 20 pips below, so it has to be a good area. I'm repeating every time because a lot of you are still asking where the entry points and what I look for. So that's what I look for. Okay, so here, from here to the next level, once again, either underneath, slightly above, or in the middle, and next level. So if it will decide to go down, then of course we will see if it will come back to this area, which is still not very good for me unless it will continue that way, right? So then I will be looking how far it is to our next level. You see that the main downtrend level area. Okay, so if it will just go down straight away without giving any orders, then we will be looking around this level. Okay, so anywhere where it's going to have slowed down. So that's how I look at it, okay, guys? But the first I'm looking at here is it started to have a bit of recovery, so possibly it might have a correction. So then I will be looking around this area. So that's my view on euro dollar and where I will be looking for the trades. Okay, next, dollar yen. Well, finally, guys, just as I promised you, I was waiting for the gap to close, and finally it did. Look at that gap. I've been telling you about it for so long. I was waiting for it to close around this area. Look how many weeks it took. It's like we've been having that gap sometimes in April 2019, and it took like nearly a year, slightly less, right? We're in February and it's finally closed it. And I was looking when it started to climb from here up around here. That's what I was telling. I'm waiting for it to close it. I'm waiting for it to close, and finally it's closed. So it's just I said to you, yen likes this closing and gaps, and it likes different patterns which could be useful. Okay, so finally it's closed it, and so this is where I was telling you we're looking for it. I had my levels previously slightly different, and I moved them using the bottoms just to see where this movement would go. Remember, I told you if it's going to be an impulse and it will be moving very fast, then we'll be looking here to sell somewhere. Where I was telling you, so if when the gap will be closed, and of course I'll be looking around to sell, but it was moving so fast. This is where you can see that's the selling entry point, guys, right here. I will go in a smaller chart in a minute, so I just want to show you a bit bigger pictures. You can see now it's an uptrend channel. As I moved it, it's a bit bigger, and here's the smaller chart where you can see is what I'm trying to show you. Here's the where we were moving, so right, so this is where it was up, and here it started to consolidation, right? So this is where it started to consolidate, and this would have been an entry point. I didn't go for this trade because I'm just waiting a little bit more. Now I'm waiting for this either go back inside again into the same area, and then I'll be looking for an entry point, or possibly continue the way down to this previous area where we had a gap and maybe some consolidation around here, and then I would be looking for placing new orders. Okay, so at this moment, of course, it's all based on news. Like I was telling you, I'm still looking at this gap, right, when it was here, and I still saw it going up, but because of the coronavirus news, I was not sure if it will continue closing. But there was some news this week from China which helped dollar yen to jump up. So yen a bit collapsed against dollar. So that's why I keep telling you guys, keep an eye on the levels, of course, and on the news, right? Listen what's happening. If you are doing a day trade manually, then just follow what's happening in the news. You see, we had a little bit looking like, I was telling you, it was looking like head and shoulders, but we still were above the level, above the area previously, and we still had that open gap, and that's what has happened. Okay, so it's a huge movement. So now, as I'm saying, I'm waiting for a possible return to this area. So right now it has a bit of a correction, and as inside the channel, and it didn't break the level. So now we can stuck between those two levels easily. It will depend on the news again, guys. Okay, so and quite now it might just go inside the channel, so have a bit of consolidation, maybe a little bit correction, return again, and possibly slowly move down inside to the next to the our level of the channel, and then continue its way. Who knows, right? It might continue that way. So it's just well, thinking about the bigger picture. You see, we've been here before, we were sitting here previously before, so now we're back, and like I'm saying, quite easily just might stuck in here, depends what the news are going to be. So well, that's the main picture. So the picture is an uptrend channel, but a possible corrective move, right? So the first entry point I'm looking around this area. If not, then I will be looking around here. So, and of course, if it will continue the way down, back to the same area, which, like I'm saying, I quite more looking towards it going like this, and possibly something like that, unless there's like huge news again, something unpredictable happens. Well, this week is the end of the February. Next week, more will be again news for American dollar, non-farms, everything like that. So at this moment, looking just in this area. So that's dollar yen. Australian dollar. Well, here we go again, nothing unpredictable, still with the news. We were right here, and I was telling you this is quite critical area, so it's actually broke it this week, right? Because you see it didn't break it straight away. There was some news again, not really good for Australian dollar, and that's what helped it to break. So with the coronavirus and bad news for China, and some not good economical news for Australian, went down. But a little bit of correction now, and with a little bit better news, then it's had a little bit move up. So I mean, at this moment, like I'm saying, I would probably stay away. I didn't go for trades with Australian dollar. I would just wait for, well, going back to possibly this level, because this was a strong support level. Now it might be a strong resistance level. So for some consolidation around here, I would probably just wait for. Right now, it's a very big field. And if you will look back in the history, you see we don't have many anything, because it's really smashed it. We have this bottom to look at now, and it's quite easy we can reach that area, right, with this previous bottoms. But where it can have stops, it just could be anywhere right now, right? So where it went into the trade, it could be just anywhere. And if you have better possibilities, I might look just at the different pairs with stronger signals. Let's say, for instance, we broke that level, so in here it might have some consolidation, and then, like I'm saying, it might go back as a correction into this area. But I think I would just wait for it to come back here and start to consolidate in here. Right now it started small consolidation, but it's very, very small. You see, it's only 10 pips channel, and it's only like about 30, roughly, like very, very little area to go back. So that's why I would just prefer for it to go back here and start at consolidation. So this is where I consider starting to look for possible entry points. And of course with the news. So wherever the market will prepare for the news, so this is where I will be looking for it. A possible it possibly with all this news still it might still just go back up and continue and turn around again. So this is it false breakout, who knows? At this moment it's all based on this news, and like I'm saying, is a proper breakout. It's broke, correction, and if it will not break in, then quite possibly it will have a bigger move down again. So but this moment I wouldn't go and do anything at this moment. I just wait for it to make a next move. So as we have another bottom now, right? So of course it might go back down to this little area, to that little bottom, and then see maybe it will start to consolidate around this area, but or maybe it will give some another pattern or anything, because you see here it still looks, you could have said it might be a little bit of the triangle is created, right? I was looking as a double bottom where I was trying to buy and go for a small trade again. So right now it's nothing gives me, so I'll just wait for a little bit more something, and then looking into the going trade. So that was dollar, Australian dollar. Canadian dollar, well, here we go. Look how messy it was. I had this starting consolidation. I had a small trade, very, very small one as a sell. As expected, it didn't break up, so as it went down first, but it was so messy, and right now it's not giving me much really. Except it's, well, it's moving as one of the expectation, right? And I still looking here at possible continue to finish this corrective movement in our downtrend big channel. So, and at the same time we have a bit of the uptrend channel, right? You see that's the one big, so I would still presume it should finish that move. Okay, so next week I would see if it will start again, continue, just move around here. I will not go for any trades around this area at all. I would wait for it, move, and then to see what kind of news is going to be and where it's going to prepare. So if it will go into this area once again, so this is where I will be looking at placing the still order buy. I had this week pending orders buy and sell at the same time, and they were just like sitting until it's triggered the one sell and went down just for small 10 pips. And so that's why I'm saying I would see if it will start to consolidate in this area. Maybe it will go back up here. So if it will go back up this area, I would probably just place the pending order buy, wouldn't place sell, because it's going to be very narrow and very close to the next level. So if it will be just very messy again, and by the end of the week or whatever the news are coming into this area, then I will be looking placing both directions. Okay, so because this is the support level, if it will break it, it might just go down to the next area, or maybe a little bit around this area, so around here somewhere. So that's how I see it. At this moment I wouldn't go for anything, waiting for either come back in here or go into the more narrow area, and then looking for the placing the trades. So that's how I look at dollar Canadian. Gold, okay, well, here we go. It was creating a triangle, which I was telling you about. This was the breaking point, as I mentioned it, and breaking point again, either go down inside the triangle or breaking it up and have a big move. Okay, the triangle broke, and as I was telling you, we had 1 and 1 and 2 and 2, and the third, if you watched my triangle trading strategy, you would remember I told you that the third is usually crucial. Third could be breaking point. So that was the third top which broke up. And with the influence of coronavirus and influence on the big companies, so you see the gold had a huge move and it smashed the previous top. Where remember I told you if it will break, then I would be see next consolidation around this area. So that where it was next consolidation and the breakout of this. And now there is a huge field with no much anything, and so where it will have a stop, you see we have here, right? So it's looking the previous huge move here. You see that can quite easily happen the same, and then it might give us a huge double top, so where it will go here and then possibly it will turn around. So could be, it's just looking at the bigger picture. Now let's see, because gold, you never know, it might just go like this. Okay, so let's say it might, but let's look at a bit closer things. First of all, it's a huge move, and now of course technically we were looking for correction, so I would look for a turning around, right, for at least for a short term. So I have here two tops, right? I'm not using the wings at this moment, I'm just using the body and the previous little tops. So here's my level where I quite possibly looking for the entry point, right? So around this level I would be looking for some consolidation where I would want to place my orders. So that's how I usually do, remember. So it's quite pretty much on the bigger channel it's touched it. So here could possibly be a stopping point and waiting. So it might get into this area, right, before it will continue that big move. So it will depend on the news. You see how it is, the news. We had triangle and we had some news, and that's when it happened. So now we need to gain for something and then some news, and then that's what we will do, unless of course the impulse will continue, right? The impulse, because you see in the bigger time frames, if this is just a big candle and it doesn't give any turning points, there are no turning candles around it, except, well, this one was a good wing, and you see it broke the wing, and then of course now, like I'm saying, it might turn around. It might still be a huge shoulder and a huge head, and so the head can turn around. It all depends on the news with the I presume coronavirus, right, and a little bit ease of it. So in here, just like I was telling you, as because we have a big field and we're trying to get just anything from the picture to see where I can find this little entry point for me. So that's where, well, on the smaller charts, as you can see, that's why I pointed out already the orange area. On the bigger charts, we're actually touching this level. On the smaller charts, we're still away to it. So, and that's why in here, it could be the entry point, right? So, but I have to have a bit of the consolidation in here. So this is where I will be looking for a small consolidation, and then I will be placing the orders both directions once again in here, because it might go for correction, right, and go down back to the level which was a strong resistance, now could be a strong support, or it might continue and with my area it might continue the way with my level might continue the way up. And let's see what kind of area. So, well, it could be possibly 1700 is usually as a psychological point, so yeah, easily it might jump to 1700, where I have my level slightly low, but you see it's plus minus, because in the bigger time frames it looks a bit different picture, and on a smaller time frame. So yeah, it could be quite possibly up to 1 to 700. At the same time, it still might be 1650 or 660, 70, 80. So anyway, but this is our point where it started to stop. You see this little red candle, so that might have a bit of a consolidation. If not, like I'm saying, it's a big field and it can stop anywhere. With the opening market, it might jump down, might jump up. So then we will see if it will jump down wherever, could be a gap, who knows, anywhere, then could be little jump down out of my area, so then could be consolidation here, or maybe it will give us a small pattern, might be a bullish flag, so it might have a correction like this and give us a flag and then continue the way up. Okay, so it might just jump, and then we'll be seeing some consolidation here. So like I'm saying, at this moment there is no entry point. This is the entry point I gave you previously. This is where it was, exactly at the level. Then I went to the next level. Look at this consolidation. That could have been the use of the next area, and now there's nothing at this moment, just the beginning, just a start around here, and then we will see. So another point I want to show you guys, look at this little gap. So when I had this area, then it happened a little gap here, and it didn't close. Even though I do not trade such small gaps, as I told you, I trade gaps from 50 pips at least, so this is only 10 pips. There is still could be an indicator that the pair might go back at one point, just like you saw in dollar yen. It took a while, but it still came back. But yen is stronger with this, okay? Gold, who knows, that can take even further years to do it, and it's a very small but still a gap, okay? So it's a little bit still a percentage that this quite possibly can go backwards. So, but I mean, like I'm saying, as on a bigger picture, you see, it could be double top. So first it might have these heights, right? Break 1700 and go in even further, let's say 1800 next, and then only afterwards turn around and give us this double top, and then we still have this channel. You see, like I'm saying, it might break out, might consolidate here, and still go back inside this channel. So, and well, yeah, not as low like this. Who knows? In a few years, it might go back down when everything will come down. But so first, it could have a movement. But this is a bigger picture. It's a huge picture, and like I'm saying, this is very big, double top a possibility, and it still might be a triangle, huge triangle. So if this is the first top, first bottom, let's say, this could be the second top, okay? So the second top go down, and then who knows, go break, give us another wherever, could be what you call it, the other pattern, which is not a triangle but a little bit different, where if it will go inside this channel, then it could be like this, and then only afterwards have a big breakup. So at this moment it might be just a little bit like I'm saying, it might treat it and still have as a like a wedge, okay? This is another one, could be a wedge, a huge wedge. It's just a huge big picture to see what you expect. You see, with all this news could be jumps out, but with the technical view, it's a little bit technically, it's a little bit looking a bit of a corrective move, okay? Correction. So that's my view on the gold, guys. So this is where I'm saying from the first entry point, this is another entry point, so this is the new entry possible point. And like I'm saying, if it will have jumps up, we will see where it will go up or down, and then would have to change it, of course. If it's not going to give us, right, it gave us a bit of the channel, then we would have to look at a different picture. But that's what my view at this moment. Euro pound, just as I was telling you guys, euro pound I did not touch, and this is, let's go on the 4-hour chart so we see where our week was. And just as here, and just as one bottom, remember I told you, quite possibly could be a second bottom. With all those news, it reacts a lot on whatever happening with pound. Very small, you see, it's actually had a jump, then went down back against very strong support level, had a bit of this consolidation. That's the entry point, was a little channel, and you see it jumped up. I didn't go for anything of it, I didn't just want it to touch euro pound at this point, but it did actually move a little bit, so give a bit of the still signs of possible correction, and I would still see it possibly continue the way up, and maybe going back into this possible again a little bit of the triangle edge, a little bit, what you call it. So anyway, so from here, that was the entry point around here, where it was a bit of the channel. So right now I would say I wouldn't go for anything, because with the news for who knows where pound will move, it might go back down again to this level. So I would just stay away at that point and just to see, and maybe go for better for pound pairs to trade. So, but at this, from here, I would just see, like I'm saying, on what I see on this picture, more going towards up into back, well, who knows, maybe this area. So it would want to just decide to start to consolidate again around this area. So like, let's say it might go back up here, go back, or continue the way up. So like I'm saying, it's so volatile with all the pound movements. I would just look at the picture, what's happening with pound, and maybe just, well, I'm going to stay away from it. But like I'm saying, the picture wise, I would see it's more going to continue the way up. So, or just sit maybe in this area, the same like I was saying to you with pound, a bit of the side I see could go in the side movement. This could be also a movement, like I'm saying, between this in these areas. Okay, so is it's been like this previously? See, it was here and could easily doing the same. So that's my picture, but I wouldn't see exactly the entry point. So pound dollar entry points now. as I was telling you, I'm still looking all the time selling the pound in this week. So for our chart, this is our week, and this is the entry point, just exactly where I pointed out. This is the sell, this is where level I had this sell, as you can see. It went down to the next level, didn't give me any consolidation, so it closed out with the EA I'm using. Once again, I placed the level, it took me into this trade, closed half positions, continued with trailing stop, and then it started to turn around. It closed the other position, half position, with profit. So that's perfect. Okay, so that's how I'm looking, going to the trades where I was telling you. Was one level and another level, next level. So right now it's stopped behind the previous level, so I wouldn't go for any trade this moment. I would just see the opening of the market and see if it will jump back inside this area, right? So this is a little bit more narrow. Of course, from here, depends on the news. It might go up and stop by this level, maybe jump up, or I will be still looking, placing sell, pending order sell from here, and see it still going back down to this level, and then I'll be waiting for some consolidation. This has been so many times around this level. It's a quite strong one. I think if it will try to break it, it might have a big move, but it has two levels pretty much. You see, so if it will break this one, I still see it might stop by this one. Okay, so it's very tricky. You see, we've been here before, so it might still do these movements right before it will decide finally where it wants to go, either jump up. Well, I mean, it has a bit of the shoulder, right? So we're still looking at the shoulder. This could be head, and this could still be creation of the shoulder, and then still breaking up and continue the way down, which I still see more a little bit because of the uncertainty with the EU decision making. And well, listening what the EU says, that they don't want to give UK the same conditions similar to what Canada and America has. So this is the movements of the way down, because EU doesn't want to do that. And so that's why you see it will be all based on the news, just to see where it's going to consolidate. So like I'm saying, American news are going to be this week, and of course if there will be not very good news for American dollar, then pound of course can jump. And we still also have here a little gap. Okay, it's very small one, kind of looks like a little bit closed. At the same time, it could be still a little bit open in here at the top, so that's why it quite easily can jump to this. I don't ignore this position. It's reacting a lot on any news. Some positive news, you see it jumped up. There was negative news, I had a huge move down, huge move up. That's why easily, if it will go in here, and it might break this and go up, but I still kind of still a little bit towards selling it. So let's see. I mean, it might consolidate underneath this area, and then possibly I could see if it's going to be like a little bit, well, it's a little bit wide, I would say, yeah, but still underneath the level. Like I was telling you, I'm not only always looking well, exact level, right? Here it was exactly breaking, so if it sits underneath, then if it's a channel underneath, then it could possibly be placing orders once again and go down to this area. And of course, if it will go down, here just need to see how far. You see it's about 40 pips. It might consolidate slightly high. If it will do underneath this, I will not go for trade. Okay, if it will consolidate underneath, I will not place sell, because here's the next level too close. So I would see if it will consolidate on top of this one, and then we will see. It's kind of a little bit of walk down in the future. So if it will jump wherever to the next one, maybe here, so then I will see where it start to consolidate, right? And then we'll be looking for some possible entry points around any, well, possibly about this area. Like I'm saying, in here, it might just sit in here, and the best one would be a little bit more narrow to this area, where it's would be a little bit more safer to place both directions. So it might go back up here or break and go down. So at this moment, I just don't see entry point. Okay, so that's what I'm saying here right now, waiting time to see what is it going to do. Okay, jump in, stay underneath, or continue the way down. So that's my view on the pound dollar. Pound yen will go on the 4-hour chart. So as I can see here, I didn't have any trades in pound yen because, well, it's still moving like between those levels. Like I told you, it will be based. You see, the yen got weaker, and so the first movement was on the pound with the news, like not very good news for this relation between EU in Eurozone, and so it went down. So this could have been an entry point, a small trade here, but went up. So you see, nothing happened. It just had a bit of consolidation, went up to the next level, had a small consolidation, so it could be another sell for me, but I decided not to go for it, and then it still jumped up. So now I would just wait again for some consolidation. It will see consolidate here, then I would be using this level, placing the sell orders. Depends if it will have a nice channel, right? So if it will jump to the next level again and consolidate, then I will be looking at this area, still looking to sell. Technically, it might go for a bit of a correction, right? And on a bigger time frame, you see, it's a very big movement up. So that's why I would just see of the going down again, right? The correction of this big move, so more towards going down. But like I'm saying, it's all going to depend on news for yen, and if again yen will start get weaker, of course pound yen might continue the way up and easily can have a top of the previous top, right? So it quite easily can. We had a wing, but it's you see it's a weekly now, so it could be a double top, like I'm saying. Okay, right now I'm looking at it more like a head and shoulders, right? So it didn't have a shoulder yet. So from here, for example, I would see it go down. It might go back up again this shoulder and then continue the way down. Depends on the news. And at the same time, as a double top, it might just reach the previous top. You see, we are like here, and quite easily can go there, and then some consolidation, and I would see a possible turning point around here. So, but this moment, that's the first entry point around this level. This is where I'll be looking for. So that's it, guys. I was trying to give you a quite big picture of the possible my entry points with the all important levels I see. That's how I will be looking at this coming week. But just bear in mind the news. I can smash all of this technical analysis. Right now market is very unstable with all of this news for China, what's happening with coronavirus, how it's spreading around the globe, and also how it's affecting the big companies, right? That's more affecting what goes into the gold pairs, right, for the metals affecting, and obviously the news with the China reacting, reflecting Australian dollar and what you call it, and yen, Australian dollar, yen, and yeah, that's it, guys. So that's all for now. So if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, like, of course. Happy trading, and I see you next week. Bye, everyone.